think this is actually the front. I did reorganize my yarn. It's upside down. Whoops. I should make myself one. Happy New Year, y'all! I hope that your 2025 is already off to an amazing start. I am so excited to share with you everything that I knit and crochet in 2024. This is only the second one of these videos that I've done, but I have to say it is so fun to look back and see what projects that you've made over the last year. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Let me know down below if you do. But sometimes when I look back at all the projects that I've done in the year, it seems like ages ago that I made this stuff. It doesn't even seem like it's been within the same year. It's always fun to see the things that you've made over the past year, maybe new things you've learned or new patterns that you were so excited to try, maybe a new yarn. I have really enjoyed going back and seeing all of the projects. I tried to be so careful to write everything down. I still missed a couple of them, but I was much better this year. I did make my own project notebook. I kind of just made this little template of my own where I wrote down everything I wanted to know about the pattern. I think this year I might actually purchase a journal. I know it's not really necessary, but I feel like it'd be kind of fun and it's nice to have everything already ready for you. I just think any tool to help you be a little bit more organized is always a great thing. I did actually do a planning video in the beginning of 2024. I'd also love to look back at that list and just see how many of the things I actually made from that list. So maybe if I didn't make a ton of things from that list, I can be sure to stick to that next year. I'm sure I have new things that I want to add to the list as well. But let's go ahead and dive into everything I knit and crochet in 2024. So here's my pile of almost everything I made in 2024. I don't have the gifts that I made this year, and I did make quite a few gifts, so I'll just insert videos or pictures of those things. But this is everything that I made for myself. One thing this year that I was so disappointed in is that I did not make anything for my daughter. Usually I make at least one or more things for her, and when I was looking through everything I was like, oh my goodness, I did not make you anything last year. So I'm definitely going to do that for 2025, at least one or two things. She can actually wear my clothes now, which is insane to me. So I definitely need to make her some like adult size sweaters. She's only 10, but she's super tall. It's just crazy. But you know, you look back at things like this and you're like, oh yeah, this is what I made a lot of this year. And I always love to make gifts. So gifts are something that I feel like there's always going to be a lot of. I love making all sorts of gifts and trying new patterns or new yarns and things like that for gifts. So that's definitely something that's always going to be high on my list. But I was very disappointed that I did not make anything for my daughter. So I'm for sure going to do that in 2025. So first up I have these scrappy socks. I actually started these in September of 2023. When I was going through these projects, I was trying to put them in order of when I started them, and I didn't even write this one down because it was all the way back in 2023. Most of the projects that are on this list I started in 2024 and finished in 2024, but it just shows you that there are definitely some things that I start and it takes me a while to finish. These are just a super cute scrappy pair of socks. I kept all of my scraps from previous sock projects, and so there is a little bit of Hedgehog Fibers in here. There's a little bit of wool in the gang right here. This is actually, I think, the yarn. Kind of magic socks, I believe. I think they're kind of magic socks, but they're self-striping socks or self-spotting socks. They look like kind of like leopard spots or tie-dye or something like that. So I think this is actually, this yarn right here, this pink, is actually, is it the leftover yarn for the heel or something? It's just the leftover yarn though. It's not even a part of the actual sock yarn. So, or the print on the sock yarn. So I used that, and then I used some more Hedgehog Fibers. This is Hobby Lobby hand dyed yarn, this turquoise right here. And then the heel, I did some more Hedgehog Fibers, and then of course kind of finished it out with the wool in the gang and then Hedgehog Fibers at the bottom. I absolutely love this yellow colorway right here. It is so beautiful. My friend Marquita got it for me. I for sure want to use it again. It's one of my favorites, definitely. But when you're done making a pair of socks, you always have this leftover like tiny ball of yarn, and so I think in the future that's just what I'm going to do. What I do is just save all of my scraps from previous projects, and then that way I have plenty of yarn to make some scrappy socks, and I love scrappy projects of any kind, and so it's just a great way to never waste any yarn. Even after making these socks, I have still leftover balls of, I think, each of these colors actually, so I'm gonna have to make another pair. I need to make like a fully striped pair. I think that will definitely be on the list. I just used the stitch count from one of the little box of socks patterns, and then I just did stockinette. So I didn't do any fancy stitch pattern or anything, but I did use the Eye of Patronage heel, I think, which is, I just think looks super cool. It's got like a slip stitch kind of detail, and I really like that. Yeah, I just did a 1x1 rib at the top, and then I did stockinette and finished out the heel and toe like they mentioned in the pattern. That's my first finished project of 2024. So next project is my Harley sweater, which is the sweater I'm wearing right now. I started this back in October of 2023 and then finished it in February of 2024. I absolutely love this sweater. It is so pretty. This was my first time trying entrelac, and I had a bunch of different scraps from the Knit Collage Make Along, and I didn't make this. My hair's getting caught on this plant. Whenever the Harley sweater was a part of the make along, I did not choose it for my kit, even though it was really hard not to. I really wanted to choose that one, but I think that I went with the Express Yourself sweater because it was a little bit more budget friendly at the time, but I always wanted to make this sweater, and so it was a really fun project. I loved learning entrelac. It is such a cool detail. I definitely want to do it again. I haven't done it since this sweater, so I need to kind of like brush up on my skills. One of the really cool things about the Knit Collage Make Along is that you get all of the patterns that are a part of the make along, so even if you didn't purchase the kit for it, you get all of the patterns. So not only do you get the pattern for your kit specifically, but then you get all of the other patterns. So it's an amazing opportunity to just fill your library with the most beautiful patterns. This one has always been on my list to make. I'm so glad I made it. There's actually a pillow pattern as well. So the Harley, is it called Harley? I'll be sure to link everything down below that I can, and be sure to label it as well so that you'll have the name and the yarn. It's a great scrap yarn project too, because there's just these little, you know, sections of knitted pieces, and so it's a great way to just use a ton of your scrap yarn. I did use some scrap yarn in this. I also used some new yarn. I used lots of Knit Collage Spun Cloud. So this pink here, I believe it's Bubblegum Twist. This green is Highlighter. I don't think that it's available anymore. This blue is, I think, Dusty Blue or Breezy Blue, one of those two. But it's the most beautiful periwinkle color. I absolutely love it. I had it left over from my Winding Road Cardi from another make along, and it is just such a gorgeous color. And then I used some Malabrigo Rasta, some Premier So Woolly. The only yarn that I purchased for this sweater is this Knit Collage Daisy Chain here, and I believe it's Grand Prismatic is the name of it. And the colors that I went with, I sort of took out of that yarn. So I tried to coordinate a lot of the colors from that Grand Prismatic yarn, and I think it really turned out great. I absolutely love this sweater. Entrelac is just such a fun technique. If you've never tried it, I definitely recommend it. It does take a little bit of figuring out. Thankfully, there are video tutorials that also go along with the make along, because I think if you're just reading it, sometimes it might be hard to figure out. I am so excited to have learned this really fun technique. One of the projects that I actually almost forgot to put in here, I had to go back and look at my photos to just see if there was anything that I missed, was this cable blanket. So I also made this for a gift, and I plan on making a tutorial for it. I absolutely love it. I have so many tutorials on my list of things to make, and I just did not do, I don't even know if I did a tutorial this year, but I really need to, and this is definitely on that list. I used Bernat Forever fleece for this, and I can't remember how long it took me. I finished it, I believe, on January 14th or around that time, but I cannot remember when I started it. It did probably take me a couple of months, I would say, just because it was a pretty big blanket, and I don't think I worked on it exclusively. But I really like Bernat Forever fleece for blankets. I just think it's so soft, and I hope that it washes really well too. That would be my guess anyway. It is, I think, polyester. So this is the Bernat Forever fleece. I don't know if you've ever used it before, but I really like it for blankets, and it is. It's 100% polyester, and it's just so soft. It just has the softest texture, and I think I've made 3 blankets out of this. I made one for my mother-in-law, I made another one for a baby gift, and then I made this one for a gift as well. I have found that this yarn you can get for a really good deal on Walmart.com. I haven't purchased any in a while, but if you're looking for this yarn, because it can be kind of expensive, this one's like $14.99, and it is 194 yards. So it's not super expensive, but it can be if you're buying like a blanket quantity of yarn for sure. I think you may have to purchase a certain quantity in order to get the super good deal, but it's still such a great deal. So if you're wanting to make a blanket out of it, I think Walmart.com is a really great place to check. Next up, we've got my Tunisian Simple Stitch sweater. I think this is actually the front. Well, I guess you could wear it either way because it is the same on either side. This is a sweater that I designed, and I started it in January and finished it in May. So it took me a while to finish it. Not because it really took that long, but just because I was kind of procrastinating on it. But I used one of the shirts that I had on hand that kind of had this raglan shaping as a guide as far as the size goes. I do think if I make this again, which I do plan on making it again because I do want to make a tutorial, I think I will make it a little more cropped. So I had some yarn in my stash, this Dusty Cedar that I had won in a giveaway that my friend Marquita did. And so I had, I think, 3 skeins of that. And then the rest of the yarn here with this green and these stripes right here, I think it's all scrap yarn, so it was just little scraps that I had, and I really liked the way that it turned out. Here, let's go ahead and try it on. So here I have the sweater on, and it is really, really cute. But like I said, I really think that I would like it to be a little more cropped. Almost, I mean, I really like a sweater that I can wear with high-waisted jeans, and I think that maybe this would be a little bit better of a length. But I also thought it would be fun to have that option. So whenever I make the tutorial, you could either make it long or you could make it short, however you wanted to, because obviously everybody has different preferences about length. But I really think overall I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the way the neckline turned out and just this kind of shaping right here. The raglan, I think, turned out really well. And so overall I'm really happy with this. I love Tunisian crochet. If you have never tried Tunisian crochet and have always wanted to, I say go do it now. It is seriously so fun. It is not hard. It took me forever to try it. For some reason, I don't know why. You know, sometimes those things that you're like, I don't know if it's hard, I don't know, you just kind of put it off and you just think it's going to require too much brain power for today, and so you just put it off forever. But I'm telling you, it is not hard. And now, even though there are probably some stitches that are more complicated than others, like this Tunisian simple stitch, I want to say is easier than like regular crochet. I mean, truly, it is so, so easy. So if you've always wanted to try it, go try it. I promise you will not regret it. But all in all, I'm super happy with it. It was really fun to kind of just like play around with it. And I just seamed it with a different color yarn here. I could have attached the seams with, you know, just like a single crochet or something, and maybe I should have done that too. But whenever I go to write the tutorial for it, I don't know if I'll do a pattern, but I may just do a tutorial here on YouTube, and then you can kind of just make it fit however you want to. I was super excited to get a design done because that may have been the only thing that I designed this year. So I was really excited to finish this design, and I really like the way it turned out. Plus, it's a great scrap yarn project as well. Next, I've got this Sparrow Lake Beanie. This is actually a pattern from Knit Brooks, and I had all this Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick that I wanted to use up. This is the color Spice, I believe. I'm so sorry about the excess noise. I forgot to turn the heater off before filming this video, and so you're definitely going to hear that in the background, and I apologize for that. So I really wanted just a fast beanie project, and I wanted to use up that yarn. I did a little short where I timed myself and I wanted to see how fast I could get this done. I have to say that I think I rushed a little bit because even though I do like this beanie and it's cute, it's a cute little beanie, I do like it, but the original Sparrow Lake beanie that I made was much slouchier, so I think I just like ended this one early. I do really love this pattern, and I definitely want to make myself another one of these beanies. I had a gray one that I had made out of, it was also Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. Is it gray marble? I think it's a pretty common color, but I wore that thing all the time, and I finally was like, I have got to make another one of these. And I have to say that I'm not as happy with this one as I was with that one, but I really think it's because of the slouch factor. Also, this isn't my favorite color either. I think gray is really something I could wear more with kind of my bright colors, and so this isn't really a color that I choose or go for very often. But I did end up giving this to my daughter, and she hasn't really worn it, so we'll have to see if she wears it this winter. But this beanie only took me a couple of hours to make. Like I said, I think I rushed it a little bit because I was trying to make a beanie in 2 hours, and so I think I would have added a few more rows in just to give it that nice slouch. But it's a really cute pattern, and I'll be sure to link it down below. Next, we've got this wavy crochet sweater. So this is a project that I started. When did I start this? I started it in January and finished it in September. So y'all, this project took me a long time. It's actually snowing outside and it's getting really dark, so we'll see if I need to finish this up tomorrow. But I really, really love this sweater. I absolutely love it. I think it is so cute. I started this sweater with my friend. We were kind of just going to do this little crochet along together, and we both just lost steam on it. It just was one of those projects that we reached a point where we just kind of got tired of working on it. And so I let it sit for months and months. And then I was like, I've got to finish this thing. I need to try to really work through some of my whips. And so I did finish it. And I'm so glad I did because I'm really, really happy with the outcome. I used Paint Box Cotton DK for this sweater. And I did have a few colors left over from, well, I guess it's really just mainly one color, this blue color here. I had this left over from, I think, making this dinosaur here. And so I wanted to use that in this sweater, and then I also had some other Paint Box Cotton DK that I've had forever and ever. I still have some of it over here, as you can see, some of the colors here. So I'm excited to use up some yarn for my stash, but I did use also King Cole cotton in this kind of ecru color, but I did end up running out of it. You can see on this sleeve, it is a little bit different. So this one I had to use two different kinds of, well, I thought that I had the same yarn, another skein of the same yarn, the King Cole cotton, but for some reason it seemed like either it was thicker or it was just different yarn. I'm not sure exactly what happened. So ultimately this sleeve is a little bit larger, just a teeny bit. I mean, you can't even tell. And it doesn't drape quite as nicely as this one, that you can probably tell. And I even ran out of that, and so I had to use some Lily Sugar and Cream for just like the last part of it. So I ran out of the blue. I also used some of this recycled yarn on the back here. You can see, and I was hoping to have more of it for more of the sweater, but I'm glad that I was able to use up the rest of it that I had for the back of this. And it went really well because it had all the colors in it. It had kind of a red color and then blue and yellow, so it worked really well with this sweater. And all in all, I am so happy that I finished it. I really love the way it turned out, and it was certainly worth it, but it's just one of those things that I just did not want to finish. I was not looking forward to finishing it, but I am super glad that I did. So next we have a gift, so I'm gonna get the book. Next up we have PICA Hare Wolf. So I made that out of this first Animal Friends of PICA book, and I needed to make a baby gift, and their nursery had like woodland animals. It had foxes and other things in the nursery, and so I really wanted to make a fox. I know she has a fox pattern in either 2 or 3 of her new books, but I don't know which one it is. But I just didn't really like that fox as much. I thought the wolf was so much cuter. I started this project in February of 2024 and then finished it in March. Where is it? I was really hoping that I could get away with it being a fox, and I think that it worked. I've got a whole video about it. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. This is the wolf right here. This is Hare Wolf, and so I just used yarn that I thought would go really well for a fox. I also want to make it kind of fuzzy, and so I used a yarn with some wool in it. Normally I just use Paint Box Cotton Decay. That's what I use the most for amigurumi, definitely, but this one I wanted to be a little bit fuzzy. So I tried Stylecraft Life Decay with it, I believe. Yes, I think it was Life Decay, and I feel like it worked really well for it, and all in all, I'm super happy with that project. I was so glad that I was able to use that wolf pattern because I just wanted to make a fox, and I thought that that one was super cute. So another gift I have to share with you guys is this berry romper. I don't have it here to show. Who did I make that for? Oh yes, that's right. That's the thing, like you feel like this was years ago that you made this. It's so crazy, but I made this berry romper and I made it for a friend's baby, and I was so excited to make it. She kind of picked it out. She had several little rompers on Pinterest that she loved, and this was one of the ones that she loved, and so I got the pattern off of Etsy. I had never used this yarn before, but it was Rico Design Cotton Decay, and it's in Dusty Pink. It's a really pretty color. I think it's a really beautiful cotton, and I would definitely use it again. This pattern is absolutely adorable. I think the little ruffles on the sleeves and the little baubles are just all so adorable. So I had a lot of fun making this for my friend. Okay, so far I think we're still doing okay. We have a little bit of light here, so I'm just gonna keep going. But next I have this Musselburgh hat. I saw this pattern on, I think, Nitty Natty's channel for the first time, and I was like, that is exactly what I want. I found that I was wearing less chunky beanies and more of this kind of just basic style. And so I was like, I've got to make one of those. I want to make that pattern. So I ended up purchasing that pattern, and I decided to use some of this sock yarn that I had. It is Laying Yarn Soxx, and it's in the color Sunset, I believe. And I got this on a trip to Colorado Springs. My daughter and I were so excited to visit a yarn shop, and y'all, we just don't have like hardly any yarn anywhere close to me, and so going to a yarn shop was like the absolute biggest treat. My husband had work in Colorado Springs, and so she and I were going to go to this yarn store, and this was one of the yarns that I got. It was so hard to choose. You'll have to go check out that video if you want to see everything that I got. I actually have some of it right here too still that I have not used. Y'all, I haven't used this. I already know what I want to make with it, but I just don't even want to take it out of there to use. It's so sad, but I do know what I want to make with it. I just have to, I have to take it out of the cube. So, but this I think is the prettiest color. I loved the way that it transitioned into truly looking like a sunset. And so if you're not familiar with the Musselburgh pattern, it is a double beanie, or it's a double fabric. So this is what it looks like before you turn it into a beanie. So you work your increases, and then of course you work in stockinette for a long time, and then you work decreases here at the end. But it is such a cute beanie. I absolutely love it. I do have to say that I think this one's a little bit tight for me. I mean, I still wear it, y'all. Don't get me wrong, I still wear it. But I do think it's a little bit tight for what I usually go for. I did make another one of these this year, and you'll see it in a little bit, and it's definitely a larger size and it's more comfortable. But I still love this. I still wear it. And even though this is like a really kind of raw wool, it is not scratchy. It's not super soft, I have to say, but it is not scratchy at all. And so I really am happy with this beanie. It is just the cutest thing. And in the pattern there are several modifications that you can make. So you can make it shorter, or you can make it more slouchy, you can have the fold over or no fold over. And then she's also got instructions for the beginning part because the increases can be a little bit fiddly. When I made my second one I had forgotten kind of how to even work it, and so I had to like remind myself. But I started this one in April and finished it in May. This is the project that I took. I took several projects, but this is the only one that I worked on a road trip that we went to go visit our family in Arkansas and Tennessee. And so this is a really great car project because you can pick it up and put it down so easily since it's mostly stockinette after you get past that increase part. And then of course you have the decreases, but that doesn't come till quite a bit later. But it is such a cute beanie. I love it, love it, love it. I really love it. So as you can see, it fits. It's just a little bit tighter probably than I would normally want, but it's not uncomfortable or anything like that. It's just very snug. I have blocked it at this point. I was wondering if it would kind of become a little bit looser after blocking, but it's really not. It's really not. But I feel like that's really good to know because I really want to use some more of this for socks. I feel like they're really going to keep their structure well because this beanie has kept its structure really well. This is literally just dawning on me as I'm filming this video, but I think that's a really great thing to know is that even after blocking, it really holds its shape. It did relax a little bit, but honestly, like that would be really great for socks. So it's Lane Yarn Soxx yarn. So next is one of my favorite things that I made in 2024, and that is my Sunbeam stripe cardi. This cardigan is absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. Is it upside down? Yes, it's upside down. Whoops. I cannot get enough of the colors in it. This was the first time that I'd ever tried this knit collage spun cloud yarn in the color Orange Sherbet, and I love it. It is the prettiest coral orangey color. I know I will use it again in the future, and I thought that it paired really nicely with this bodacious pink here. This is also the knit collage spun cloud, and then I think I got a wildflower sampler and a mini sampler. So the mini sampler comes with like Dreamland, Wildflower, Castaway, I think, and Fun Cloud. And then the wildflower sampler, you just get several different colors in the wildflower. So if Knit Collage still carries these yarns, I will definitely put them down below and the name of them so that you can check them out if you want to. But I really, really love this sweater. It just is the most beautiful. I love these balloon sleeves, y'all. These sleeves, how pretty are these sleeves? I did end up using wildflower for the cuff here. I have a whole video about the sweater if you want to check it out, and it kind of tells you the detail in the process. I took you through the whole thing. So I'll be sure to link that down below. I love all of these different colors. I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to do it, so I tried to make the sleeves symmetrical here because I thought that there needed to be a little bit of symmetry in the sweater, and then I tried to make the top of the sleeves as close as possible. They're not exact. The reason why they're not exact is I think that I was confused as to where I was in the pattern or something like that, and so I thought I was working on one section, but I was actually working on a different, and so I kind of got that messed up, but it all worked out in the end. I did use some other things that I had already in my stash, like this Knit Collage Dreamland, or I think it was actually, it was called something different back then. This is Bubblegum Twist. They don't carry that color anymore, and I had it in a beanie, and so I took the beanie out and I wanted to use it here. It just has the most beautiful little flowers in it. As you can see, they're just so pretty. I love the little detail, the little roses, and then the other flowers in it. And so I really wanted to use it in this cardigan. I thought it would be so, so cute. So here is this Sunbeam stripe cardi on. I mean, y'all, how cute is this thing? But I just really love the way it turned out. I think that these sleeves are just the most amazing. I love a balloon sleeve. I don't know about you guys, but I am so all about a balloon sleeve. So I started the sweater on May 3rd and finished it on May 26th. So it really didn't take super, super long. That's what I love about this like chunky yarn. It does not take long at all. And I was so excited that this sweater was chosen to be a part of the spring make along because I had had my eye on it for so, so long, and I had loved the colors that were on the model and everything. I just thought it was the cutest sweater. This is truly just like me in a sweater. I mean, the neons and the textures, but I am super happy with this one and I really, really love it. It is just such a special cardigan and definitely one of my favorite makes of 2024. And a part of the same make along, I made this Lotus sweater. So like I mentioned before with the Knit Collage make along, you get all the patterns that are part of the make along, not just the kit that you chose. And so the Lotus sweater was another one that was on there, and I really wanted to make that too. I didn't use the Spun Cloud Light like they used for the kit. I just used some yarn that I had on hand. So this is just Lily Sugar and Cream, and then these are wildflower scraps that I had. So it is Knit Collage yarn, but it was just like the scraps that I had on hand from different projects. But but I'm really excited with how it turned out. It's a really great summer sweater because it's cotton, and I think that it would be really cool to make one out of a similar yarn to the Spun Cloud Light as well. So I made the size 2 in the Sunbeam stripe Cardi, and then also the size 2 in the Lotus Sweater. I love kind of an oversized fit, and so anytime that I can make a little bit larger of a size, that's usually what I go for. I started this Lotus Sweater in May as well. I think actually before I even finished this one, like on the 20th, and then I finished it in September. So it took me a little bit of time, but y'all, I ran out of the yarn. I thought that I was gonna have enough. I had one of those like big cones of Lily Sugar and Cream, but I had used some of that cone for some other projects, and so I ran out like right before I finished the last sleeve. So it took me forever to order more. I think just because I really wanted to use up some yarn I had on hand, and I ended up having to buy a whole nother cone of sugar and cream. I mean, I could have just bought like a skein of it, but I ended up using that Lily Sugar and Cream for lots and lots of things. Like you guys saw in the Wavy crochet sweater, I just added that in. So it's always something that I can use and have on hand. So I'm like, well, I'll just buy another cone. So I think for a while I was putting it off because I was like, I'm not gonna purchase this because the whole point of this was to use up some yarn that I had on hand. But in the end, I still bought the yarn. But I really love how it has this high-low hem here, and I'll go put this one on as well. So this is my Lotus sweater. It is just the cutest sweater. I love how like drapey it is and just how easy breezy it is. But as you can see, this little high-low hem here is just so cute, and the split. I really love that. It's also great that it's cotton because you can kind of transition in between seasons with it. This is also super easy to take care of. I have washed this, I have dried this, I think at least a couple of times now at this point, but I really, really love it. I do think that when I dried it, it was a little bit smaller. I think the next time that I washed it, I just let it air dry or laid it flat to dry because I wanted it to be a little bit longer. I didn't want it to be quite that short, but I really love this sweater. It is just the cutest sweater, and I know I'm gonna wear it all the time. I really need to make a lot more cotton sweaters because I feel like I wear those all the time. They're just so easy to throw on. I love the drape of them. I just really, really love cotton. But it was really fun to make this sweater as well as a part of the make along. I still have so many patterns from previous make alongs that I want to make, so tons of things on the list, but I love, love, love this Lotus sweater, and I think it is super, super cute. The next item I have on the list is something I don't have here. It was a gift. I made it for my niece. I knit her the Spring Blossoms baby top. This was so, so cute. I really, really love it and definitely plan on making another one of these. I feel like I've made so many baby gifts this year, and I love having all these patterns in my library to just choose from, like when I need a baby gift really fast. I have thought about sometimes like just making one or two of these things and just having them on hand, but also you might want to choose colors that you think are specific for that person or something like that. But I love this top. It is so adorable. I started this top in July. I really wanted to be like on top of it and not be working till the last minute, but y'all, I was literally finishing it on the way to the birthday party. So we live about 3.5 hours away from my niece, and so in the car ride I was making the straps, and y'all, I thought it was gonna take me like no time at all to finish these things. I was literally finishing them up like within probably 20 minutes of getting there. It was so pitiful. But I really was trying to be ahead of the game with this one. I just wasn't because I ended up frogging that other one. So I started this one on July 10th and I finished it on the 21st, which was her birthday, her actual birthday. There were a couple of options for the straps, like an I-cord, or there was one other thing and I'm not sure what it's called, but I'll be sure to put it up here. And that's what I wanted to try with this one. She suggested that one actually, that she thought it really gave a good finish, and I had never done that before. And it wasn't hard or anything like that, but it was just kind of one of those things that you have to like get in a rhythm of. Your brain has to get in that rhythm before it starts working. So that's kind of why it took me longer than it would have taken me. So I did that, and then I added the elastic, like this clear kind of like bracelet elastic around the top part of it so that it would stay up and fit correctly. And I'm so glad that I did because it was definitely too big for her, even though I think I made the 12-month size, but it was definitely a little bit big and it was more like a dress than a shirt. But it was so, so cute to see it on her. I used Wool in the Gang Shiny Happy Cotton. I actually used this color right here. I believe it's Cameo Rose, I think is the color. I had this yarn for a different project a long time ago that I had planned on using it for, and I never did, and I was like, this is going to be so beautiful for her. It is the softest cotton. That is literally my favorite cotton, y'all. If you have never tried it, I highly recommend it. It is a little bit more expensive than some of the other cottons, but it is so, so soft and my absolute favorite. Like, the drape is amazing. Next on the list, this is probably another one of my favorite things that I've made, and I think it's so funny because it's gray, which I'm sure you can tell from all of these projects that I love color. If you're new to my channel, then I am all about color, all about texture, all about all the fun, crazy crazy, quirky things. But I was really needing a neutral cardigan. I was just like, I've got to have like a neutral, a gray or something like that. And so I was searching for the perfect cardigan pattern. So this is the Douglas cardigan by Andrea Mowry, and I love this cardigan. It is so cute, so drapey, just like the perfect cozy cardigan. It is absolutely perfect. It's got these little pockets here that I love. Now you can see that I added a little bit of a detail, just like a funky little detail there. Of course the buttons too are a little fun. They're all different, and I just thought that added like a little fun eclectic detail. And then I added that here on the pockets, a little bit here, and then there's a little bit here on the sleeves too. I started it in July and finished it in October, but I put it down for a while because I had some gifts to make and things like that. So I do think that it would have taken only like a month or something to finish if I would have worked on it pretty consistently. I did share about this cardigan in one of my podcasts. If you want to check it out, I'll have that link down below. But I ended up going with just like a solid color besides of course the little details that I made. And this is like a cotton acrylic blend. It is Go Handmade Cozy from Hobie, and I absolutely love it. I think the drape is so perfect. I'm tempted to throw it in the washing machine just because it's cotton and acrylic. I think that it would be fine, but then I'm also hesitant. I have blocked this once already, and so it has been wet blocked, but I don't know. I hesitate too because of the details that I have in here. So the details are super wash. It's a yarn from Ruby and Roses called Streetcar. I am really bad about hand washing my stuff. I mean, I will do it to save the life of the yarn, to save the sweater. I will do it, but I feel like I put it off, and then I don't wear that sweater for so long if it needs to be washed, and I just don't want to do that. As much as I've already worn this cardigan and know that I will wear it a ton more in the future, I'm very tempted to just throw it in the wash and see what happens. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. But it is so cute, and the drape of it is just absolutely gorgeous. I just love, it is just so cozy. It is so cozy. And I've already worn it a ton. Like, it needs to be washed. Like, that's how much I've worn it already. So that is a super fun one, and definitely one of my favorite ones that I've made this year. And it just shows you that even if you love color, everybody needs a neutral. I guess the good part about snow is that it also reflects light, so it's still keeping it light enough outside that we can keep going with this video. But one of the gifts that I was working on during that time was the line summer top, and this is by Russ Knitwear Designs. It is an absolutely beautiful top. I wanted to make it for my daughter's swim teacher, and I wanted this specific color blue. I do think I ended up going a little bit more towards a royal blue than a like cornflower blue, which is really what I wanted, but I still think it is a beautiful color, and I really love the design of it. I just think it's such a flattering design, this little V cable shape. But y'all, it's so funny because even though, you know, the pattern is well written and everything is pretty easy to understand, I kept messing up on these cables. I would like just forget to do it. It was so frustrating. So I think I got like halfway through or something and then had to frog the whole thing and then start over again. And it's not hard at all, and it's not hard to understand, but for some reason, like my brain, I think when I was working on it at night, like my brain was so tired that I'm sorry about my cat, y'all, if you can hear my cat. He's hungry, he wants his food, so he's here to beg. I had to frog back so many times that I was almost thinking like, do I want to finish this? I was really like questioning that, but I really wanted to because it was just the cutest top, and I knew it would be so cute if I actually finished it. So I powered through, and even though I had to redo it several times, I did end up finishing it and giving it to my daughter's swim teacher. So I was so excited about that because, oh my goodness, that thing. But it's a really great pattern, and I absolutely love it. I do want to make one for myself, I think, if I'm brave enough to test that out again. That one I started on August 7th. I frogged it on August 15th. And then I finally finished it on September 18th. So next is my most recent thing that I finished, which is this Corinne Cardi. I shared about it in my last podcast, which was my last video, but this is the Corinne Cardi. It's my second Corinne Cardi, and I absolutely love it. I used Drops Air for it, and it is just the prettiest yarn. I used up some scrap yarn here. I used up some Nicolage Wildflower, and then some Darn Good yarn here. I used up some of my own Batik fabric yarn. I started this sweater in August, but I didn't finish it until just last month. Yes, I put it down for so long. I actually started this when I was doing some planning for fall, and I wanted to use up some of my scrap yarn. I had this Drops Air yarn, and I really wanted to make another Corinne Cardi because that was my most worn cardigan. This one is a little bit more cropped, and I did pearl on the sleeves instead of knit, but I really love this one too, and I think it's fun to have like a couple of details that are different on this one. It's a really easy and fast pattern. I mean, I didn't get it done fast, but that was only because I put it down for a long time, and I love that it has crochet and knit in it, so it's just such a fun project to work on. You get to crochet for a while, and then you get to knit for the sleeves. I really love this project, and I was so excited to use up some of my scraps with it. I used up quite a few of my scraps, and what I did was, like I mentioned in my podcast, is that I just used the scraps that I really liked and just used them until they were gone. So I just used however much yarn I had and made as many squares as I could with that. I was able to make 3 to 4 squares with most of the yarn, so I was very excited about that. But I'm really happy with how this one turned out. It is just so fun. I can't wait to wear it. I do need to block this one because I have not blocked it yet, and I think that that's going to help it be even more drapey. This Drops Air is so soft. If you have never tried it, I highly recommend it, but it is absolutely gorgeous and the softest yarn. Okay, y'all, we are back. It is day 2. Thank you for hanging with me if you have made it this far. We are more than halfway done, so there's only a few more projects left, but I just couldn't get it all filmed in one day, and there's a little bit more light today. It's not snowing, so let's go ahead and continue on. This is project number 16, and that's the Classic Teddy by Darling J'adore. This is actually the second one of these that I've made. I had a baby gift that I needed to make, and so I thought this would be the perfect one, and I really wanted to try the Go Handmade Teddy yarn. I had my eye on it for a long time, and I thought it would make the cutest teddy bear, so I wanted to give it a go again. I wasn't 100% happy with my first classic teddy that I made a couple of years ago. There's a whole video about it. I'll make sure to link it down below. So I wanted to give this yarn a try and see if it would really work for this project, and all in all, I am super happy with it. I think it made the cutest teddy bear. I did share about it in my podcast, episode 3, so 2 podcasts ago, but I shared how this yarn makes the cutest teddy bear, but it is also so hard to crochet with. I absolutely love the finished teddy bear, and I'm very happy with the way he turned out. I would crochet with it again to make a stuffed animal specifically. Now I haven't knit with it, so I don't know what the yarn is like when you knit with it. It may be easier to knit with it, but I just could not see my stitches. I was like, you know, maybe after I get going for a little while, I'll start to recognize what these stitches look like. No. I just made my best guess as to where to put the stitch, but thankfully it all worked out and he was super cute. This was the first time I think I had used safety eyes for amigurumi, and I really liked those as well. I did end up making a little black nose instead of a pink nose like the pattern, but he just turned out to be such a cute teddy bear. I started the Classic Teddy in October, and then I finished in November. But all in all, it was a really fun project, and I was really glad that that yarn worked out for it. There's actually another yarn too that's Go Handmade Curly that is a similar yarn, and I think would also make a super cute teddy bear, so we'll see. We'll see if in the future I am brave enough to use that yarn again. I really like that yarn. It's just, it's hard to work with. Next on the list is 11ses, I believe. This is a little baby cardigan. I made this also for a gift, and it's so funny because I'm not quite sure if that's how you say it, 11ses, but I was telling my husband about it and he was like, is that like dressed to the nines but the 11ses? I don't know if that's actually what the name means, but let me know down below if you know what that is. It is 11ses as far as I know, 11ses or maybe 11ses, so dressed to the nines, dressed to the 11ses, I don't know, but it's a really cute baby pattern. I loved making this cardigan so much. It's one of my favorite baby gifts I've made ever, I think. I just love the shawl collar. I love the little pocket detail. I love the little faux elbow patches. It is just so cute. So this is a pattern from Frogginette Knitting Patterns, and I started it in October as well and finished it in November. I used Drops Baby Merino in the color Grayish, I believe. I really love this yarn for baby gifts. I think the stitch definition is beautiful. I've used it for some baby socks, and then I also used it for another baby cardigan that I made for my niece. I really like this yarn for baby gifts, especially wearable baby gifts, because it's got great texture. The stitch definition is really pretty. There are lots and lots of colors to choose from, and so I've only used kind of neutrals with this yarn, but I really want to get a color next time. So I think the next baby gift, depending on who it's for, I'm going to try to get some of this yarn but in a different color. This was such a fun pattern. I made the 3 to 6 month size, and I ended up getting some little leather buttons for it, and y'all, it was just so much fun. I loved knitting this so much. Like, I cannot wait to make another one of these. I can't remember what the sizes go up to, but I'll be sure to put it right here if you're interested, and of course link the pattern down below. It was a super easy to follow pattern, so this is definitely one of my favorite baby gifts that I've ever made. Next on the list, we've got this Musselburgh here. So this is the yarn that was left over from from my Douglas cardigan. I bought a little bit of extra. I really wanted to try this colorway from Ruby and Roses. It's called Streetcar, and I thought it was so pretty. I did get this yarn to add in just a little bit of detail to the Douglas cardigan so it wasn't completely gray, just gray. So I had tons and tons left over because I did end up getting 2 skeins of it, and I did kind of plan that way. Like I wanted to use it for a future project, so I got enough that I would be able to do that, and this was the perfect project. So this one is actually a worsted. This is her worsted base, and so this one is definitely bigger. It's a little bit more comfortable than the other one that I have. I really love it, y'all. It was so much fun to knit up. As you can see, the colors here are quite a bit different, but the funny part is that it's not like this and this are different skeins. This and this are actually the same skein, and then this down here is a different skein. So you can kind of see like the variation, but I just think that's what's so cool about hand-dyed yarn. If it was on a sweater, maybe right in the middle or something, that might bother me a little bit more, but I just think it is really cool with this. It works out really well too because this is my favorite here at the top, and then this is kind of the brim. So it's almost like an ombre effect, and so I really like the way that that turned out. I started this in November as well, and then I finished it in December. My plan is to have one of these like constantly on the needle so that I can just kind of always have one of these in progress, because they do take a little while just because you have so much stockinette. I already have one planned for my daughter, so I need to get started on that. I'm very excited about that one for her. I've had this yarn for her forever and I've wanted to use it, and I was originally going to make a sweater out of it, but I don't think I'm gonna have enough to make a sweater, so I'm going to make one of these Musselburgh hats for her. I'd really like to make one for my husband as well. This pattern is just such a great basic beanie pattern, and I think maybe the next one I'm gonna give it a little bit more slouch, but I absolutely love this beanie pattern, and I really love this streetcar colorway from Ruby and Roses. So next on the list is from the second PICA book. I had another baby gift to make. I absolutely love making baby gifts, and I just love making gifts, period. This particular one, I wanted to use either the second or third Animal Friends of PICA book, and my mother-in-law gave me both of these books, and I was so excited to make one of the critters out of them. It was hard to decide which one. I went back and forth between this one and the red panda, but ultimately went with this one, and so this is Darwin Turtle. I mean, that little guy, how cute is he? I had so much fun making him, and I think that he is my favorite one that I've ever made. I shared all about him and all the details in my last podcast. He was so much fun. I actually used a different yarn with this Darwin Turtle. I usually use Paintbox Cotton DK, but they were out of a lot of the colors when I went to purchase it. I decided to go with HARLEY, and it is the Friends. So this HARLEY Friends cotton is what I used for Darwin Turtle. It's definitely a larger gauge than the Paintbox Cotton DK, but it's a really soft yarn. I really, really like it. It comes in so many pretty colors. This one is the one that I used for his little boots that were so, so cute. And I just really, really like this yarn. Because the gauge was quite a bit bigger, he did end up being a little bit larger, but honestly not that much. It was only like a ½ an inch when I went to look at the original pattern measurements from my measurement. So he was about a ½ an inch taller. I also used a larger hook size than I normally do because I wanted to use my tulip crochet hook. But all in all, he was so, so cute, and I love him so much. I love his sweet face, and I love the details of his shoes and his little shell. So he was really a fun one to make. I enjoyed working on him a lot. I started and finished this turtle in November, and I think that he took me less time than the other ones because I was so excited to see him finished. I used safety eyes on him as well because I had both of those baby gifts that needed to be finished. Actually 3 of them because the cardigan also needed to be finished. And so I was kind of looking for a couple of ways to speed up the process. And so I really tried to stick with it and just get all the embroidery done quickly and just finish him up fast. And I love, love, love him. So number 20 is the Twisted Rib Beanie. This is just a free pattern that I got, I believe off of Pinterest or something. I wanted to make a little beanie gift, and I thought about using one of my patterns, but ultimately went with this pattern from UU Yarns. This is another project that I finished in November because I wanted to make it for a gift, and I wanted to find specific colors that would work for the gift recipient's favorite colors, and so I found this yarn. It is from HARLEY as well. I ordered it when I ordered the yarn for the PICA turtle. I really wanted some yarn with wool in it, and so I got this Tweed Delight. Well, I don't think I kept any of the sleeves for that yarn, but let me see what color that was really quick. Candy Apple. Candy Apple is the name of the yarn color. Her favorite color was red and I wanted to make a beanie for her, and then she liked it mixed with blue and green, so I tried to find something as similar as I could, and I really think this is super soft yarn. I would definitely use it again. I really like the little kind of confetti flecks that it had in it. I wish I had more of that beanie to show you, but I just have a little bit of it since it was a gift and I kind of was trying to get it done quickly. Y'all, we have made it to number 21, my last project, which is the basic Pom Pom Beanie, and that is by Nifty Knittings. This is a basic beanie pattern that is just so great. It's great to have on hand. I've made several of these. I'm trying to think I've made myself one. I don't think I've made myself one, but I've made a lot of them. I should make myself one. The pattern comes in sizes newborn to adult, so there's lots of options. It's not an expensive pattern, but I wanted to make a last minute Christmas gift, and so this beanie only took about 2 hours. I made a little short about it where I timed myself because I'm always curious how long these actually take. I did film it over the course of 2 days, but I could definitely have gotten it done in one day. It really took me a little less than 2 hours. It's just such a fast beanie to make, especially because it's super bulky yarn. I used Premier So Woolly for this one right here. I used it in the color Rosebud though, and I think it just made a super cute beanie for my niece. I really love it. And so I started this on December 13th and finished it on December 14th because I needed to get that out before Christmas. But this is a great like last minute gift beanie pattern because it is super fast. I highly recommend this pattern. It is so easy to follow, such an easy, great beanie pattern, just a good basic to have on hand.